Welcome in. This is the inBLOOM podcast with Josh Bickford. I am so excited you have joined me today. This is our very first episode. Like everybody with the first podcast, I want to take a few minutes and tell you what this is going to be, who this is for, what this is about, and um, kind of build the foundation of what this podcast is going to be and how it will be good for you. Again, I am Josh Bickford. Thank you for joining me. Um, 5, 6 years ago, I was a mortgage broker, and my favorite part of that job, without question, was going to get coffee with other people. And I enjoyed that more than working with my clients. I enjoyed it more than the learning to master the business. I enjoyed it more than um, really any other part of it because we would sit down, local coffee shop in Atlanta, or maybe we'd be. I liked Rev a lot. If you're in Atlanta, Rev was fantastic. Maybe we'd end up at a Starbucks or at oh gosh, there's so many good ones there. And we would talk about things, and I like to steer those conversations into their hopes, their dreams, what they're working on, what they're most excited about in life, and just listen and then do everything I could do to be a part of helping them build that and become that. And that is kind of the vision for this podcast. In bloom is a term that can be used in real estate. It's also a term bloom is used in coffee. This podcast is going to be a conversation over thriving in life, thriving in your business, thriving in real estate, over a cup of coffee. We're going to do them 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday. I'm going to stream them live on, which we're doing right now, stream them live on YouTube and Facebook and Rumble. And then they'll get uploaded to everywhere that you consume your podcasts. So I've got my coffee with me here today. This is a Starbucks blonde roast. And I brew it at 185 degrees and put it through an AeroPress, and it is amazing. Oh, I love coffee. I hope you do too. So, um, my hope for you in this podcast is that you'll enjoy a cup of coffee with me and you will turn this off and be uplifted, inspired. You'll have something that you didn't have before you turned it on, and you'll look at this as a win for the day. I look forward to the conversations that this sparks. I look forward to the people that we all meet and the connections that are made and the growth that happens through this little conversation that happens over a cup of coffee. I am super excited about that. I cannot wait to share this. Years ago, I was on a talk radio show with Dana Barrett, who I think she's on the city council or something in Atlanta now. But I was on a radio show, and um, don't know how I ended up on it because I certainly don't feel like I was qualified. But when I sat down in the chair and they put the mic in my face, it was like I loved it. I was like, this is fantastic. So I've been really excited to get one of these going. Um, Spent the last 4.5 years or so at a big publicly traded real estate company. I was director of acquisition. And my job was to forecast what homes, we'd get a request for a house. My job was to forecast what that house would sell for, what renovations we would need, and how long it would take to sell. And I did that for like 2.5 years in the Atlanta area, the Alabama market. And then got moved to the director seat and helped launch our markets out in Colorado, which is where I live now. And the interesting thing that happens when you hold a position like that is you start to, by necessity, because it's your work, you start to get good at, peering around the corner to what's coming. And you start to see things clearly, like holistically clearly for me anyway. Last year in 2022, when the market really started shifting, The Denver area was one of the first that really broke with interest rates going up 3% in 1 month. And that experience for me was wild because I was doing everything I could to keep up with the news and to understand what was going on. May 15th is the day that I realized everything had changed, and I didn't catch the change before it happened, and I should have. That led me down a trail of doing a lot of studying, a lot of reading, a lot of figuring out what was going on. And man, what I found out was, you turn on CNBC to figure out what's going on, and you were getting marketing. You weren't getting information. I would read articles and they were all filtered through the economy is great. This is temporary. Inflation is going away. Anything, it depended where you were at. If you listen to one source and they would tell you everything was horrible and you needed to vote because there was an election coming to change everything in Washington, uh, leaving out the local stuff, obviously, because of course we do that. Um, and I'd turn on something else and they would talk about how good everything actually was. And I was literally watching the market disintegrate in real time. You'd turn on CNBC and they would go on it just as I learned more. And I learned what an inflation fight looks like. I learned what happens to real estate. I could really see that where inflation was the worst and where it had had the greatest effect was because of the Fed's zero interest rate policy. So it was the things you buy on loan, real estate, cars. Um, I didn't realize it at first, but I saw it later. I realized there was a ton of leverage in the crypto world. There's a ton of leverage um, in all sorts of investments. And as rates started coming up and things started coming down, you started seeing people pull that back and just everything kind of slid. Uh, and I tell you all of that because that was a eye opening experience for me, and a big part of why I am in the seat right now where I am sharing this with you is because I really started to gain clarity with a lot of this stuff and saw that there's not a lot of people out there who are um, trying to pour into people or give them the truth, or everybody has a short-term view of this, and it's whatever's best for me or us or our organization right now is what we're going to show people, and anything that doesn't fit that we're not going to. And that's not what this is going to be at all. This The work that I do and the work that I really see myself doing for the rest of my life is going to be um, truth. Like, real estate, which is the industry I'm in, the industry that I love, real estate moves whether the market is a buyer's market, whether it's a seller's market, whether interest rates are high, interest rates are low. There is always movement. In When I was a mortgage broker, I used to go to, I think they either monthly or quarterly, these meetings that one of the Keller Williams franchises would do down there, where they would go through all of the market data and show this is what's going on. This is direction things are going. This is what we think, which was really good. It was so eye opening for me. The day that my eyes, it was like, like jaw dropping almost. They went through, I think this is probably 2014 or 2015. They went through and showed everybody the transactions from 2005 to 2008, and then 2008 through 2011, and then 2011 through 2014. And the numbers were the same. And that was really eye-opening for me because obviously different property was selling, different stuff was transacting. Atlanta was really bad, and people were buying all sorts of foreclosures. And I had friends who would get phone calls from people that would say, "Hey, you need to buy this house," and I'm really not looking to buy a house. And then they would look at the house, and it's like 17 grand, and they're like, "I'm going to have to buy that house." And so, I'd watch the news, and they would be at foreclosure auctions, and the people at the auctions, we're talking about the opportunity of a lifetime. You spend $10,000, $20,000. I know people who bought houses for $1. Of course, I bought none because I was, lost my business and I was trying to recover. But um, there's always business to be had. There is all, like, when people are selling, it's when you're supposed to be buying, and when people are buying, that's when you're supposed to be selling. So we are absolutely bombarded with things that just aren't true. You don't have to be in an unbelievably hectic market. You don't have to be in what we just left to thrive in real estate. You just have to know where the opportunity is. You have to know what's moving and what's not. You have to be able to distill all of the data that you're getting that is not based on the market that you work in. It's based on, maybe the county, maybe the state, maybe nationally. Like if you live in North Carolina, what's going on in California does not freaking matter at all. So the work that I'm going to do is going to be centered around that, and it's going to be made for the consumers in our industry and filtered through you. So that's what this is going to be. I want to build you up. I want to teach you new things. I want to show you what's coming. I've built some tools that I'm going to share that will help you um, distill the data to the market that you work in. I want to show you where the opportunities are for yourself, for your clients, where the market will be going. Because I see all this really clearly right now, and um, I'm starting to share this with people, and I've talked to a lot of people about it. They don't know it. Where the magic is in the market right now, and this is opportunity of a lifetime stuff, is with assumable mortgages. That is every problem that we have right now with unaffordability, lack of demand, people staying on the sidelines, not being able to afford things, having to wait for prices to come down so that interest rates and prices match up, which I want to explain all of that to you as well. I kind of have a unique perspective there because I've sat in the mortgage seat and in the acquire real estate at scale seat. Uh, the assumable mortgage solves all of that, and the opportunity is unbelievable. So I'll be talking about that a lot. Um, Recessions and recessionary times are when you are supposed to level up. It's not when you scale back or find a new job and come back when the industry gets hot again. When things are air quote bad, that's when you level up. Patrick Bet David said, I was watching something of his, and he said, in a recession, you want to add a zero to your net worth. So if you're not a millionaire, you want to come out a millionaire. If you are a millionaire, you want to be a 10 millionaire. If you're a 10 millionaire, you want to be a 100 millionaire. And if you're a 100 millionaire, you want to come out a billionaire. That's really fascinating to me. And I love the perspective of that. And I love um, the idea that you don't pull back, but you lean in and you serve more and more and more people, and you get better and better and better. And when you come out the other end, you are transformed. That's what we're going to do here. That big time. That is complete. We're going to go into this with our eyes wide open. We are going to see everything for what it is. We are going to stay away from the cliches and the I have to have something. The thinking that it's binary. You either have to have this or this happens. And we're going to transform ourselves. We're going to transform our businesses, and we are going to transform this industry. And when we come out the other side, we are going to be stronger and smarter and more equipped. And the people that our cities, that our markets, that our peers look up to. That's what's coming. So the stuff that I'm working on for you right now, I have got this podcast. It's going to be Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm going to live stream it, as I said, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. Filming this one on YouTube. It will be uploaded later in the day to anywhere that you consume your podcasts. You can get them on my website as well. I've got a link right to it, joshbickford.com. I'm going to have a weekly newsletter. I want that one to be more like, if this is coffee, that one's like a steak dinner. I want to write those and have those be something that maybe you read more than once or you think about for the week, or it shows you a new perspective. It shows you a new idea, maybe something that you need to implement into your business. I just got the first one up. It's called The Third Way. That newsletter is called the Asset Column. You can sign up for those on my website at joshbickford.com. Those I'll release them weekly, and the plan is to send them to everyone who subscribes. You can get it on the website. I'm going to send them to everyone who subscribes to the day before, and we'll have a podcast each week where we'll kind of talk about that, because I think that, give a few days to digest and then talk through it a little bit. We will do that. I have created a course on assumable mortgages. You can get the free 3-part course on my website. I also, and I'll link to it in this video, I put the first lesson up on YouTube. So you can, you don't have to give me your email or anything. You can watch it and see what you think. The first lesson is all about the opportunity in front of us. And I go through a deal here that I went on Zillow and looked for the word assume and found a listing, and we went through. It's not marketed that the opportunity is unbelievable. It's not marketed that you're going to save $700 something a month. It just says there's an assumable mortgage on it, and we're going to go through how much a buyer would save if they assumed the mortgage, what the transaction would look like, and why the opportunity is so unbelievable, and why the listing needs to show all of that as well, because that's super important. If you list those correctly, the demand is going to be huge, because that house literally is more than $700 less per month. And because the value and the mortgage and everything kind of line up pretty closely, the transaction doesn't look any different. So I think you saved $720 something a month, and it was 50 grand over 10 years. And maybe the 50 grand, and you pay the principal down faster. That's the part that people don't talk about either. So it's like you saved 50 grand in payments and you paid the mortgage down by more than 80 grand or something. I mean, it's crazy. And I didn't look hard for it. It was the first thing on Zillow that I found. So I've got that. I've got that available on my website and on YouTube. If you find value in this podcast, I'm going to ask you this every time: share it with a friend. You make sure you subscribe, depending on the platform, leave a comment, leave a review. That's super important. I want to help as many consumers as possible. And so in putting all of this together and just thinking through what I want this company to look like, I realized that I could implement all of these things myself and just share them with my customers and have a thriving little business here in Colorado. But there's a lot of people who are going to need our help, a lot, like millions of them. And there's a lot of people who are going to think that they're beyond help. They're going to think that there's nothing they can do. They're going to think that they're stuck, whether they're selling or buying. And I want them to have a guide. I want them to have somebody who can lead them to a place that they didn't think was possible, and can help them long term be better off in the future. And the way to do that is to pour into our industry, and pour into agents, and pour into mortgage people, and pour into just everybody who's in our industry. That's super important to me. I want the consumer to thrive, and I want us to build something together that looks out for the little guy, that isn't completely skewed towards the big and powerful and rich. I want somebody who looks out for the single mom who's struggling, or the family who wants to move for a school district, or somebody who gets relocated for work. They are going to need us, and there's a lot of and I want to pour myself into you so that you can pour yourselves into them. And you are the hero in this podcast. You are the hero in the work that I do. I am merely the guide. And that transaction flips when you are with your clients. Then they are the hero and you are their guide. So that's where we're going with this. I hope you got something out of this today. The coffee is delicious. The time together is wonderful. And I can't wait to see where this goes. I can't wait to see what we build. I can't wait to interact with all of you. Hopefully we can get to a place where we can do some meetups in person, where we can do all kinds of fun things. I have a lot of fun stuff planned, and I can't wait to see where this goes. So be well today. It's going to be a fantastic day for you, and I will see you on Monday morning.